Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. This time I want to talk about things I wish I knew before I became a software engineer, and I hope you find value in this. And if you do, like, subscribe and share. So the first thing I wish I knew is that it's not all about code. It's not all about programming languages and how fast you can code and how much you can get out there. A lot of times, or rather a lot of your time, is spent on analyzing problems and possible solutions. And by this, what I mean is you can't just pick the first solution that comes to mind. You need to think about the cost. You need to think about the timelines. How long will it take? If you're a small team, some solutions are probably too complicated. Yeah, so you have to spend a lot of time debating even possible solutions with your colleagues, probably documenting, put it in an RFC or some kind of a document. So code only comes after you've agreed what the actual solution will be. And yeah, it takes quite a bit of time for that. That's the first thing. So if you're trying to become a software engineer, think about that. The other thing is communicating. It's very important to learn how to communicate effectively with your colleagues and with people who are non-techies. A lot of times people from the business side. For example, sometimes I have to talk to the marketing team about maybe some kind of marketing messaging, marketing messages, and how they're going to be sent out. What happens if we're not able to send it out? But I cannot. I have to be mindful of the language so that we're able to understand each other. So learning how to communicate effectively even with your teammates who are techies, and sharing your ideas in ways that make sense to everyone. Documenting RFCs, documenting incidents, for example, in a either correction of error or cause of error document. You have to learn how to write. Yeah, that's part of communicating. You have to learn how to present. So you've gone into a rabbit hole, researched some solution, you found some library and maybe some architecture you want the team to implement. Maybe it's going to be a better solution for you guys, maybe less latency, or it's cheaper for the company, but you have to learn how to present that to your peers, yeah, in a way that they can understand what you're trying to achieve. And this can earn you points when you're going for promotion. Yeah. The other thing is, other than communicating, is that learning never stops. You have to keep learning. Yeah, you have to keep learning. Yes, so learning, you have to keep learning. At least every week you have to spend at least 2 hours every week. If you do that the whole year, then, and if you have, like, of course I'm saying 2 hours, which is very little, but the reality is people have other things they do. You might not be just 24/7 software engineer. You might have hobbies. Maybe you play an instrument, or you know, you swim or something. But every week you have to spare some time to learn, and there's usually a lot of stuff you can learn, whether it's your existing tech stack, learning more about it, or new libraries, new technology. Like right now, you need to be learning about AI. You need to be learning, other than ChatGPT, what else is out there. Maybe trying out some things. Yeah, and find something you can maybe use to add value to your daily work or to your team or wherever you work. So you have to keep learning. I had the pleasure of working with a 10x engineer, and the one thing they always insisted on is learning every day. Every day, even if it's 10, 15, 30 minutes, you have to spend that time. Another thing I wish I knew is how mentally draining it can get. When I was becoming a software engineer or a programmer, when I was learning how to program, there was so much hype around coding. Everyone wanted to code. And we spent a lot of time doing it, even overnighting like several times in a week. It has a toll on you mentally, especially when you're not doing it for fun and you're not working on trivial problems. It requires a lot of critical thinking, requires a lot of studying, reading, analyzing. Takes a lot of mental capacity, and you end up burning out at some point, especially if you think about the pressures that now come with deadlines and maybe incidents. Maybe one of your changes caused an incident on production, and the anxiety that comes with that. So burnout is real. So you can get burnt out. There's imposter syndrome. Sometimes, especially when you join a new team, or when you're not very confident with your skills, imposter syndrome can be very tough on you mentally. So yeah, it's very mentally demanding. Other than the mental aspect, it can also get you in a bad physical shape, because a lot of times you're just sitting down for hours on end in front of a screen. So you have to actively get yourself up, get yourself active. And of course, being physically active has a good effect on your mental health. And the opposite is true. And not being physically active has a negative effect on your mental health. The last thing I wish I knew is that the importance of having a good mentor. Especially early on in your career, you need to be around really strong engineers and people who are very experienced, if possible, or very good at what they do. And don't be afraid to ask them questions and talk to them about the struggles you're having, if any, or just ideas and things you're thinking about. Other than just talking to people, you need someone you can study, whose code you can study, see how they present stuff, see how they write, how they document their ideas. That's one thing that's going to take it to the next level, just documenting and presenting your ideas. So if you can find someone who's good at that and just study their work, it can be very can have a very positive effect to your growth as a software engineer. So that's it for today. I hope you found value in everything I've shared. And as usual, like, subscribe, and share. Thank you. Bye.